So recently, the black sea devilfish appeared on the surface for the first time in history. This is interesting because black sea devils usually live near the bottom of the ocean. Similar to the blobfish, they're scaleless and they have gelatinous bodies. Scientists have no idea why this fish in particular went up to the surface. Although there are a handful of reasons an animal may go to the surface, it might be confused or it could be escaping a predator. But to say this event is rare is an understatement. And then to say that someone caught it on tape and scientists were able to catch it is even more unheard of. Now, when I'm drawing it, it is very large scale, but these fish are actually only under 10 centimeters long. Here's a clip of a scientist holding it. If you didn't know this about anglerfish, the male of their species actually connect to the females and then become a sort of parasite onto them. In fact, only the females have that iconic long light on their head. So this subfamily of the anglerfish was actually discovered in 1878 by an American biologist named Theodore Gill. That's a pretty funny name. Despite the funny name, he wasn't just a biologist. He was also the librarian for the Smithsonian Institution. He cataloged mammals, fishes, and mollusks. And interestingly, he's also the senior assistant to the Library of Congress. So this particular fish was less than 6 centimeters long. Many online are firing up their poetic side, stating that there's something deeply poetic about finding the light after a long lifetime of darkness. I'll link you to the article for this quote because it doesn't give a source. This fish was found in the Canary Islands, and all anglerfish are carnivores. They range in color from dark gray to dark brown and live around 6,000 feet below the ocean surface. Anglerfish are mostly known for having that Elysium, which is that rod that has the light on it. But the interesting thing about the source of that light is that it's actually a bacteria. So the anglerfish is in a symbiotic relationship with this bacteria that dwell in and around the Esca, which is that enclosed cup-shaped reflector. It contains crystals, which reflects it out, much like the headlight of your car. If you were to measure the light level of the Esca throughout an anglerfish's life, you would notice that when it's first born, the light level is very low, and throughout its life, it gets bigger and bigger. This is because the anglerfish is born at a different level to where they live at. So in this mesopelagic region, is the mesopelagic zone is known as the middle pelagic or twilight zone. It's a layer of the ocean in which anglerfishes live out their adult life. And in this zone, there are more bacteria there so that they are able to glow brighter in adulthood when compared to childhood. Although the way that they actually obtain their bacteria is just a theory. There's another theory that says that the adult anglerfish actually disperses out this bacteria onto their children when they're in their eggs. Because we haven't actually found in the sea any of this bacteria just floating around. We've only seen it in the Esca of the anglerfish. However, actually in one study in the Gulf of Mexico, there is some evidence, so it's not set in stone, but there's some evidence that some anglerfish acquired their bioluminescence from the local environment. So take that with a grain of salt. If you can solve this mystery, I hope you win a Nobel Prize. So the way that this predator actually hunts is similar to a lot of predators on Earth. It kind of just floats around with this light dingling and waiting for something or anything to be attracted to it. This is what's called an ambush predator. In my previous video, we talked about a frog that did the same thing, where it just sit there with its mouth open, and then when an animal came by, it would just try and eat whatever is in it, even if it suffocated itself to death. I imagine something similar could happen to the anglerfish because its jaw and stomach can extend to allow it to consume prey up to twice its size. Mind you, the anglerfish is only about 6 centimeters long. So this long protruding filament that has that light on it is the first 3 spines of the anterior dorsal fin. Now, some anglerfish don't actually have a light on the tip, so they just move it around like a lure. So the story to how scientists found out that male anglerfish actually attach onto the female anglerfish is that they didn't understand how these species actually reproduced. They kept finding female anglerfishes with this weird lump on their body. And, it turns out that this lump is actually the male anglerfish. What's happening is an actual fusion between the male and female. This cellular fusion actually enables the male to live on, because if it doesn't find a female, it will die because they don't mature. Both sexes actually don't have fully developed gonads. And males of the species have a very well-developed olfactory organs, which is the scent organ, so that they are able to find the female. And on top of all of that, their actual intestines become stunted, preventing them from eating. When a male finally finds the female of the species, he attaches to her, first ensuring that there is no other male already attached to her. And then through some enzyme process, this boundary between its mouth and the female skin dissolves and disappears, and they are fused on the blood vessel level. Now, this situation actually enables the male to survive, and through time, the male grows larger than it would be if it didn't have a female. It remains alive and well as long as the female is still alive, and has multiple spawnings, and remains reproductively functional as long as the female lives. But in some species, there actually can be multiple males incorporated into a single female, with up to 8 males in some species. However, some species also only have a 1 male to female ratio. And some species don't exhibit this type of sexual parasitism at all. Now, the black sea devil that we see in this viral video, I think yesterday, for the February 19th, this anglerfish actually does have that bright light. Its habitat is deep sea, but it ranges worldwide. And yeah, the reason why the internet's going so crazy over this video of this anglerfish being really close to the surface is because that's such a rare thing for anglerfish to do, is they're never spotted towards that surface. And yeah, I think people are getting poetic about it because I think it is inherently poetic. It's a fish, yes, but it definitely embodies a human motif of flying too close to the sun. Nobody knows why this fish went to the surface. There's a few hypotheses, but who really knows? Perhaps that we personify the black sea devil because it is following its dream. It's going towards the light, just like Icarus. Although it's interesting Icarus is the comparison because I think it was his pride that made him fall more than anything. Yeah, because in the story of Icarus, it's a dad who made wings for himself and Icarus out of feathers and wax, but the dad told Icarus not to fly too close to the sun, and Icarus ignored this. The wax on his wing melted, and he fell into the sea and drowned. Now, I think this is a common motif of fathers telling their sons not to do something and then them doing it, and especially in the Christian Bible, there's a lot of motif towards this. Lots of stories towards this motif, and I'm not quite sure why that is. I think there is a lot of wisdom to listen to your elders. However, I think these stories kind of lack the complexity of, if we all listen to our elders, then no progress would ever be made. Everything would stay the same. Now, in your case, viewer, whatever this quote-unquote progress that maybe your elders are telling you not to follow, I hope you do follow it, because sometimes the elders are wrong. They're people as well. It's everyone's first time being alive. But yeah, that was me talking about the black sea devil. I just saw this guy online. My girlfriend actually sent me an article concerning it, so I decided to draw it. I hope you like my drawing. Please let me know what you want me to draw next, or if there's any cool stories that you guys are into. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I still feel weird saying that.